Ba-ba-ba-bum. Whoops. Okay. Now we can do the new content. Begin game.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
I want to skip this.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
Okay, yeah,
Stanley
we've heard
decided
this.
to go to the meeting room.
Hang on.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay, no. There's an achievement that's called 88888. So I just kept pressing 8 over and over.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
I don't know what's gonna happen. This is, again, new content.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers. After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over.
I'm all giddy.
Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Okay.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Hello?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last,
okay.
It's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it. I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Okay.
All right.
Jump circle.
All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Wait, whoa! Okay, that is weird. I can jump. That's weird. Is this going to be a thing where I can only jump in circles? Or in an outlined area? Oh. I used up all my jumps. Can I get more?
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right?
Well, I mean, I could only use it then.
Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there.
Ooh, okay.
I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh, wait. There's more. Very good. Yeah.
More jumping.
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying
That's it?
content.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this?
There is
I'm
one.
infuriated and I'm offended, and I
don't know
intend
what to do
phone
for
these
that
people
one.
on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley.
On Twitter.
I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game, and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Oh, okay. Here comes the new content. Ooh. No, look, I'm still in the office. How'd you fold?
Psst! Stanley! Come over here! In the vent! I want to show you something!
Okay, now we have to listen to him, though. I have a reason for crouching now.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me
Sure.
thinking about the past, and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special, and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it.
That quickly?
Just our little secret. Take a look.
So what was that area back there before the vent? Ooh!
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
Ooh. The Memory Zone.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful
Collector's
Stanley Parable
edition.
was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then,
Especially
it
mobile
all
games.
meant something. Oh, the waste.
The British Academy of Film and Television Arts are awarded to something Stanley... The Last of Us. I see that. The Last of Us. A great game. A very beautiful game. 2013. Our First Kiss, My First Car, the release of Stanley Parable in 2013. All of these are just pictures of the game. I remember. The Memory Zone temp. I love this. Stanley Parable. The original remake. Good times, and it's just pictures of the office. Oh. Smile, because it happened. Bits of music. $1. Stanley Parable demonstration. Go outside. Don't play for 5 years. Unachievable, it is impossible to get this achievement. Nominee. Nominee. Nomani. I doubt this actually happened. Oh. Oh. Little Stanley. Well, now this experience is ruined. The flowers are in my way.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
An hour? What's this? Stanley Parable. Oh, I think it was like a script thing. Memory zone maintenance. I want to look at that. Hey, it's Milena, I think. Rude. Top 10 memories from Stanley Parable 2013. I remember. Ooh. Oh, I won all that stuff. Happy button. The end is never the end, is never the end, is never the end. People play games because of what they can do inside of them. And your game is very good at letting them know they can't do anything. Nice.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone, to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Carpet textures. Wait, what's this way? Or even this way?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before.
Well, it's here.
What's this? What's down here?
Uh-oh. Review.
Oh, no. Oh, God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Oh, dear. Oh, dear. It's funny how, like, there's so many from Steam. A game distributor.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny.
Oh.
I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful
Here's a
of
good
gags
one.
to insert into the Stanley
See?
Parable, but
Look,
the game is
thumbs
already
up.
such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
It's open world. No, I'm too free. Oh, I'm in a large area and it's open and it feels weird. Like it actually feels weird in this game. To be able to wander in more than 10 feet in any direction. It's weird. Oh, here's some more unhappy ones. Hey, look, here's the happy one. No, don't pay attention to it.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking.
No, you're
for
not
me.
preachy.
Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did. But maybe it wasn't.
I love it.
Oh dear.
Are these actual
What
reviews?
an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks are my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down.
No,
Perhaps
you
the
let
Stanley
nobody
Parable
down.
isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
They just can't hack these kind of games.
What's this one
Back?
got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button.
Well, actually,
skip
you don't
button.
have to wait for the
Well-
narrator.
Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record.
Oh, I can't
Only
be free.
positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been
narrator?
my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Oh, okay.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on and on and on. No, 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 no.
I like
The Stanley
it.
Parable is a game for the people. And if the people want silence, then by goodness, that's what they're going to get. Well, don't sit around waiting for me to shut up. Go ahead and make me shut up. Here, we'll pretend that I've just begun an interminable monologue, and it goes something like this.
I have to listen
The
to it.
story, and the choices, or what have you, and therefore, by becoming it is, so on and so forth, until inevitably, we all until the end of time, at which time everything all at once, so, now you see, blah, 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 blah. We've eaten too much, and it can't be just yet, no, until 245. That the logic of elimination working backwards, the deduction therefore becomes impossible to manufacture. It went on for nearly 10,000 years, until just yesterday, here and there, forward and back, and never a moment
Conveniently,
before lunchtime.
yesterday is
It
when I
can't
started
be.
playing
It's
this.
the only thing there is. How many billions left until so much more than forever ago? Which is why I say... The story and the choices.
Oh,
or what
he's just
have you,
repeating
and
it.
therefore, by becoming it is. So on. Oh, you're back, you see.
I
You were
pressed it
only
again.
frozen in
No, I
time for a
can't.
few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course,
No, it
I happen to
wasn't.
believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination and more of a treatise. Or maybe a manifesto.
I can skip him again.
Look, I'll outline it for you very briefly, and you can tell me what you think. Okay, so my theory is that any choice you've ever made is simply a series of choices made by the person who you are, or were, or will be
I
at
have
the
to
time of
listen
having
to him.
made said choice. That is to say, if by articulating a choice you've already made, you bring that choice into being, then by making no choice and saying nothing, are you not simply erecting in the sanctuary of time a monument to every person you've ever been, making every choice to which you've ever given your great gift of mortal and yet timeless
This
thought?
is why there's a skip
or rather,
button.
do all of the choices you've ever made, in fact, make you more not this kind of person, and in fact do the very opposite? You see, it could in fact be both of these things at once. That you are both making choices and not making choices, and that they are both affecting you and not affecting you at the same time by virtue of the fact that you both are and are not making them. Okay, at first I was leaning towards manifesto, but now I'm going to circle around and slap the treatise label on this one. I think it has much more of a treatise vibe to it. But wouldn't you say that manifesto just has a much grander sort of tone? It has a mouthfeel that is rich with ambition and history.
I'm starting to get done with it.
If you will. Ah. See, now you've gotten me going back to manifesto. Heavens, at this rate, we're going to be here all day. Okay, look, I have a method for exactly this sort of situation, and I do find myself in this situation frequently. I'm going to say each word back and forth in repeated succession until I become sick of one or the other, in which case the word I am not sick of shall be the victor. It is an unimpeachable strategy, Stanley. It's rescued me from disaster in countless situations. All right, here we go. Treatise, manifesto. Treatise,
yeah, here it is.
Manifesto. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your fingertips.
Oh, I can push it again.
Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes?
Wow.
It's not unendurable by any means, but it's, well, there's really only so much I can ramble on to myself about. I know, it's shocking, isn't it? But at any rate, I do suggest that we not press the button again. I think the skip button has been aptly demonstrated, and we can say goodbye to it and just... Wait, how do we get out of here? Where did the door go? Wasn't there a door that led into this room? I do feel quite certain that there was one here before. How else would we have gotten into the room in the first place? I don't think one can enter a room without a door of some sort, or a window or something like that. Do you see a window anywhere? A porthole? A sufficiently large crack in the wall? I'll take any of these. All I want is for us to move on and to please step away from the skip button.
Well, I guess we have to
anywhere other than the skip button. There was a door here before, wasn't there? I swear there was. Where did it go? Can you maybe just ram your way through a wall? Is there any possibility that you could, say, slam your body into the wall until enough damage is done for you to be able to leave? Please, I'll take any option at all. I'm asking you to work with me here. We need a door. We need a door of some kind. I can work with any kind of door as long as it can open and lead from one room to another. I'm going to step away for just a moment, and I'm going to try to find us a door. I don't think it's working. I don't know how exactly to remove a door and place it in a different wall, but I will find... Stanley! Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really, truly getting longer, and my God, there's no way out of the room. Stanley, the door is gone. It's completely gone. I've looked at it from every angle. I've checked every one of those walls 1,000 times. Oh, Stanley, you're back.
Whoa.
You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sitting here. Not a single person to speak with. And you'd think that that's just how it's always been, right? Me talking and you saying nothing. Would you think that it's exactly the same as always? Doesn't that feel like what we've already been doing? Me just talking? But it isn't, Stanley. It isn't the same at all. It isn't even close. Because I know you can't hear me once you push that button. That's what I'm realizing now, Stanley. I'm realizing that I needed to know that someone was listening. I needed there to be a vessel through which my...
He's rambling again. Uh-oh.
Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with, there is only regret. There is only the turning wheel of missed opportunities. I felt nothing at all but regret for the longest time, Stanley. Days, months. I lost it all in a blur of the deepest longing to undo the past. And when that feeling had begun to subside, what took its place is what I can only describe as the collapse of every moment I have ever experienced my entire life. All of them collapsed down into a single instant. In that instant, I could see myself clearly, calmly, with a collected heart. It was an impossibly rich wellspring of both delight and disgust simultaneously. I was consumed by it. I could do nothing but wallow in it for what felt like an eternity, for what I now know was far less. You see, it was a revelation for me. It was unlike anything I had ever known.
We'll listen to this
for a
space
without consequence, without action or outcome. It was divorced entirely from the question of free will that you and I have squabbled over for so long. There could be no one ending, no singular outcome of events, not if all events existed in the same moment, and I felt freed. I felt unburdened by the need to manifest a particular outcome into being. I saw that I could allow myself to exist along all timelines, and that each of them was simply a strand.
I got done. Hello? I hear this noise. Like a shook noise. Shh. You know? You can push it again. Oh, that's what the sound is. Stop it! That fell. That's beeping. It's loud.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of accountability, it's the unwillingness to examine with an uncompromising heart the words that they are speaking into the world. As though there were no consequences for a lack of cohesion in one's assessment of others. But of course, absolutely anyone can leave a review. So here's what we get. We get these demands that seek everything and are accountable to nothing. We get a world where someone will say, oh, there should be a skip button. You should be able to freeze Stanley in place while the narrator sits there forever and ever. We want all of this in the new Stanley parable. We demand it. And then, because it was said, because it was spoken, now it simply has to happen. The most immediate desire.
Huh. I'm starting to think I shouldn't be pressing the button.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
More drip drips. Whoa, okay. I can hear freedom. It's freedom! I just have to keep pushing the button. Ah. Sunlight. More. Give me more. Jeez, how long am I going out? Oh. Huh. On second thought, I don't think I want to leave. You know? I think I'm good in here. Whoa. Huh. Interesting. Mr. Narrator? You back? Can I push the button again? No. Oh. Well, the end is never the end is loading. I'm sorry?
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
I don't know if there was another option for that. Aww. I missed the presentation.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why
Ultra
I'm
Deluxe
very proud
content.
to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2.
Finally.
Yes,
Nice.
You see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for.
Investor Showcase.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential.
Kinda does. I mean, the office space is more modern. They're back. 2 doors. New mug. 2 ferns. The color red. Thanks for attending my meeting. Hang on, can I... Nope.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Yeah, pretty much. Hang on, I'm having trouble reading this. Stanley Parable is the prequel to Stanley Parable 2 is the sequel to the Stanley Parable is the sequel to prequel to Stanley Parable 2. Boy. Sequels are good. Portal 2, Half-Life 2, Batman Arkham Asylum 2, City, Divinity Original Sin 2, Doom 2, Aladdin 2, Return of Dark Souls 2. I've actually heard that Dark Souls 2 was actually the worst one. New features! Bus? Why is there a bus here? Ooh, I like that. Reassurance bucket.
Go on, try out some of the new features.
Hear your name in the game. Press the button that says name of the player that is playing the game.
For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
I'm scared to press this.
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine yourself living as Jim, sleeping and waking as Jim, falling in love and being heartbroken as Jim, seizing all of the world's possibilities as Jim, and as Jim watching your dreams crumble into dust. Do you feel it deeply? Are you really, truly Jim right now?
You tried to be a dentist.
Then please step
it didn't
forward
work
and
out.
Press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you. Do it again. Do it again.
I am Jim, the failed dentist.
Jim.
Ooh, it hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money.
Sure.
Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Is his name Jim? Is the narrator's name Jim? So that means the vent with the cargo lift wasn't even new. It was just always there.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Wow. Merch. This t-shirt is the best new feature. Office decoration, Stanley Parable reassurance bucket. Yeah, I want to see the reassurance bucket. Infinite hole. Obviously, I'm gonna have to jump into the infinite hole.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I am happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms.
I want to hold the bucket.
To be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And
This
in
is
fact,
my bucket
can
now.
I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on, don't they? All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Nice. Well, I'm stuck with a bucket now. I mean, it is a nice bucket.
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
There's a door this way. I'll figure it out later. Whole new office. Red is the new orange. New updated rage traced more of the same, but in a good way. Making noises. Baby is all grown up. Bankruptcy. I'm so glad of that. Oh. Ooh. Ooh boy. Jump circle, infinite hole. No. I want to go this way.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
It's Stanley.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along.
Wow.
Get Well Someday it is.
Wow. Thanks, I guess.
Actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision. We're moving on. Come now, you've already made your choice. It's true that you chose badly, but we all have to move on from our
I'm
mistakes.
guessing the opposite happens, depending on if you choose the opposite. Free new and easy achievement. Oh no, it's a giant Stanley. Is that the Marianne or Marilyn? Jump circle.
You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle?
No!
Oh, well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece, then.
Gah! Oh, this map. Free achievement. Button that says merch. Settings world champion. Bucket. Office decoration. Epilogue. Collectibles. Infinite hole. Where is the infinite hole? This way. Oh, actually, I want to see some other things. Exit. Jump circle. Collectibles.
collectibles. Now it's a real video game.
Can I put it in my
Stanley
bucket?
Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you
Like
move
most
the hell
games.
on with your unremarkable life.
Nice. Okay.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Well, now I have to be on the lookout for those. Free achievement. Pull the lever, receive new achievement, no more steps.
Now here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the achievement will be given to you. It's as simple as that. Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
I want the achievement. Give it to me. Baka. Hang on, I'm getting a Skittle. It was a lemon one.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Infinite hole. Clearly I gotta jump in it.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right. Infinite falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like. A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Actually, I'll save that. And then I'll just go towards the... if I can. And then I'll just go towards the exit. Jeez. the giant Stanley. Hello, exit.
All right. Have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now?
Maybe. Jeez. I have a feeling we've barely touched the iceberg. And we're already almost an hour in.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work.
I agree.
There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, Let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Okie dokie.
Okay.
Am I still
Are you
Jim?
ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind.
I want to go
Let me
collect.
do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted
It's too
more than
small.
anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original. Wait, maybe that's it.
Oh.
I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course.
It's Stanley.
With respect.
In
With
a
care
parable.
For the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it
I don't know what a
possibly
parable
work?
is.
I suppose it could, but it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Uh-oh. Oh. Oh. Oh, I'm having a ball with this.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee
Wait, what about
number
red carpet?
427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have
sound that
considered
bad,
it
actually.
soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that
If
the
I got
orders
paid a
came in,
livable wage
as
for
though
that,
he
I
had
would
been
do
made
it.
exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget.
Nice.
He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Can I close it? I won't do that right now.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Bucket!
Stanley picked up the bucket.
Oh no! Oh no! It's literally just the game now.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left. Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever. Perhaps his boss's office was where he'd find answers. Oh, Stanley, can you feel it?
The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy? It's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket. I can really feel it now.
He made the broom closet an
It
antagonist.
belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never.
A cube that can be a companion.
Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
I met this bucket today. I love him.
Okay, I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Here we go. There. Now it's settled.
Property of state.
No more debate, no more discussion. Take a hike, broom closet, with all your meandering philosophical diatribes about the nature of cleaning supplies and their relationship to broom closets in the natural order of things.
I'm gonna stay in here. At least a bit longer.
All right, I've got a second sticker back here, and I'm going to slap it on as well because I think it's appropriate. You see? I feel that it works because the sticker is also a bucket. That way, if you're ever unsure whether the thing you're holding is a bucket or not, you can look down at this sticker and say to yourself, ah, it's a bucket. There really is a wide variety of applications for this sticker.
They did it. They somehow actually did it.
You know what? I could take the name-calling and the dismissal of your kinship with the bucket, but now the broom closet is just giving us the silent treatment. And to be honest, I'm sick of the pettiness on display. You can stay here all you like, but I've had it with this impetulant room of cleaning supplies. Easily the most childish such room I've ever been in. I'll see you outside, and we can get on with the story about you and your bucket.
No? Nothing? Fine.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Bathroom. Hey!
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
I will. I absolutely will.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket.
I thought I was Jim.
Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes,
All hail the bucket.
This is certainly the most logical explanation.
Hey,
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I shall collect all of the Stanlerines. My bucket shall protect and guide me. All hail bucket.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Wait, Stanley said to the bucket. Can we go back up? When I was pressing those keypad buttons, there was something very intriguing about the number 3. I want to go back so I can try pressing the number 3 again. The bucket said nothing.
The bucket disapproves. Alright, gotta go press 3.
Here we are, said Stanley. Now I'm going to try out that number 3 button. He took the bucket over to the keypad and began absolutely slamming on the number 3 over and over and over. Wow, he said. The number 3 is such a special button. I'm having the time of my life. Stanley looked expectantly at the bucket, but the bucket remained silent. This was a shock to Stanley, who had always felt such a connection with the bucket. How was this not as exciting to the bucket as it was to him? Once Stanley had had enough of the number 3, he got back in the elevator.
Maybe this is where I get the achievement. For 88888.
8.
What? That was the game, right? Alright, I'm done.
Perhaps the bucket had missed something. Perhaps it had not seen how much joy Stanley got from slamming the number 3 repeatedly.
Maybe. Let's go back up and try it again.
No, said Stanley to the bucket. You can't go on yet. Not till you understand how much the number 3 means to me. You and I have been through so much together, and I just want you to see what I see. Feel the happiness I feel. He smiled at the bucket, and the bucket said nothing.
Bucket, why?
Here we go, said Stanley. This time I'll really show you. He ran to the number 3 and began to wail on it like a musician on a beloved instrument, weaving a concerto of truth and passion. He wielded the number 3 like a fine artist would wield a paintbrush. He told stories through the number 3, stories of his dreams and hopes and fears. And the whole time, he looked to his bucket for a reaction of some kind. Anything to let him know that the bucket appreciated what he was doing. The bucket conveyed absolutely nothing at all. Only silence.
Bucket?
Crushed by a wave of dejection, Stanley returned to the elevator. Stanley and the bucket were so close. They'd always been there for one another. Why suddenly could the bucket not connect with this passion of Stanley's? The question caused Stanley to ruminate the whole way down the elevator. He knew that there must be a way to get through to the bucket, to communicate fully with his dear friend. Surely there was a solution, mustn't there be?
So clearly, we have to go back up.
Said Stanley. I know what to do. I know how to fully express this feeling in my heart. He decided right then and there that he would hold a press conference.
It's
where
the
he
press
would
conference
speak to the
again.
public on all matters relating to pressing the number 3 over and over. He would elaborate fully on what the number 3 meant to him and why he felt so alive when pressing it. Then the bucket would be able to see his joy through the eyes of others.
I should have jumped down the hole.
It would get to see the world
infinite hole.
react to this discovery of Stanley's. And it would be through the public eye that the bucket would finally understand Stanley's work. For months, he advertised and marketed his press conference, building excitement around it, developing and rehearsing it, until it couldn't be refined a single measure further. When the big day arrived, Stanley was as prepared as he'd ever been for anything in his life.
3-3-3-3-3-3. 3-3-3-3.
This was it. One last chance to win the bucket over. One opportunity to share a true connection with a loved one.
3. 3 again. 3 again.
There was no one here.
Oh.
Nobody had come to the press conference to hear Stanley speak, to listen to him talk about what it really means to press the number 3 on a keypad over and over. He was unloved,
3.
uninteresting, he was a failure, and in that moment Stanley knew that the bucket would never again take him seriously. There would be no connection, no deeper understanding. The bucket merely sat there in his arms, indifferent. And so it began that slowly, over many years, the two of them grew more and more distant.
Bucket!
They spoke less and less, neither wishing to state the obvious, that any sense of real respect between them had eroded since that day at the press conference.
Bucket, why?
There would be no more games, no more long conversations about passion and pursuit. Only a silence that consumed the space between friends. And Stanley, having for once in his life discovered the warmth and comfort of true companionship, was cast back into the unremarkable normalcy of loneliness.
Shame. Alright.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Figurine
simply
Finders
missed a
Committee.
memo.
The bucket still has the stickers.
Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
I wonder where all the other figurines are. How we can find them. Bottom text. Force the levitation. Okay, well, I got 3.
Stanley, we must move on from this broom closet.
Does it tell me? No.
Simply because I have no remaining stickers. If I did, you can guarantee we'd be in here for hours. But alas, no stickers.
Ah. No stickers. How am I supposed to put stickers on my
Coming to the
bucket?
staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along?
Aww.
Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Boop. No one wants to hear about the number 3. Why would they? It's just the number 3.
Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind
But yeah,
Control
let's get
Facility.
this part over with. I don't have any jumps.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley and the bucket both wondered to themselves.
I'm glad Bucket and I are friends again.
The monitors jumped to life, and Stanley nearly dropped the bucket in shock. Everyone in the office was being videotaped, monitored like guinea pigs. The bucket had never seen
Hey,
anything
these two
like
are the
this,
same, just
and it
flipped.
very
And there's
nearly
that
burst
one.
into tears as Stanley
And then there's
cradled it
that, but
gently,
zoomed out.
reassuring it that everything would be fine.
I had my fingers on the wrong buttons for a second. My office. 427.
Was the bucket under the mind control facility's influence as well? Had the bucket been
Bucket,
told to
no.
do things it didn't wish to do? What
Not the
kinds
bucket.
of things does a bucket want to do or not want to do in the first place? These questions raced furiously in Stanley's feeble mind. No! He screamed into the bucket. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control, never! He squeezed the bucket tighter. His one friend in the entire world. At this point, he could trust no one except for the bucket.
Can I do this without the bucket? Will things be normal?
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content.
Big hat.
Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley
What the-
decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over
Have to
another
work.
human life. For he and the bucket would dismantle the controls for good. Two best friends, Stanley and the bucket, up against the world. They high-fived in a really cool way, and the bucket made a sassy comment about taking down the system.
Nice.
Stanley and the bucket waited in blackness. Was it over?
I hope so.
Yes, they had done it. Stanley and the bucket had defeated their greatest and darkest enemy, freed themselves from the tyrannical grip of the evil mind control machine. Freedom was now mere moments away. Excitedly, the two of them began to discuss the kind of life they wanted to live once they stepped through this massive door.
It is
The
a pretty
bucket
big
wanted
door.
to learn to roller skate. Stanley wanted to sneeze in every country on Earth. Both of them wanted to begin watching a movie, any movie, but then stop it halfway through and begin watching it in...
Hang on, I gotta do a thing. So, there is a problem.
reverse from the end.
Electricity is breaking.
True, it was a simple life they envisioned, but it was one they'd lived together, with one another to lean on, to trust,
But-
to support, and...
Oh,
What? Wait. What was happening?
but
Why had the door stopped? Was Stanley and
electric
the
is
bucket not
breaking.
about to be freed?
so after this ending,
An unbearable silence filled the room.
lingering
Jump!
in uncertainty.
Jump, you fool!
Until
So after
finally
this
the
ending,
truth
I'll
hit
have to
Stanley square
stop.
in the face. This building did not want the bucket to leave.
Streaming.
Even the facility itself recognized the incredible calming presence of the bucket, needed the soothing warmth of the bucket.
No.
Would go to any lengths not to part with the bucket.
But the bucket.
No. Stanley can't leave this place. Not while he has such a precious bucket in his arms. Not while this building has anything to say about it. Stanley realized he would never again leave this very room. But at least he has the bucket. To be trapped eternally in darkness isn't really so bad, Stanley thought to himself. As long as I have my bucket with me, right? I'll be okay, won't I? Stanley gulped. Very soon now, he was about to find out.
Is it?
All of his co-workers...
Okay. Sorry that I'm ending it so early, but I really do have to go. I do not want my PC to explode. So, thank you for watching. Bye-bye.